Right now, I would DNF it. First day of summer. Looks like I peed the bed. My niece is 4. She's not giving me life advice, so let's talk about them really quick. Okay, I just dropped my phone. We're about to start. It is 8:10 a.m. on Thursday, so we should be done by around this time on Saturday. I'm about to go for a run to start the timer, and while I'm running, I'm going to listen to the audiobook of... Oh, I'm just trying to talk to you. I'm going to listen to the audiobook of Lucy Foley's The Midnight Feast. This is a new release that came out. And fun fact, I read 2 of Lucy Foley's thrillers and they just weren't the best to me. And you guys know I have a 3 strikes you're out rule. If this one is kind of the same for me, where I just don't really enjoy it that much, then I'm not going to be reading any more of their thrillers. I'm gonna listen to this one today. This is gonna be the first audiobook of the video while I run, work out, or am doing something. I'm gonna be listening to this one until we finish it. I am 65% through The Hunting Feast right now. I've been listening to it on audiobook all day. From the way that this book is going, I just don't think that Lucy Foley is for me. Unfortunately, all of these books literally feel the same. It's the same exact type of regurgitated story, but just changing the setting a little bit. The plot of this one is just not that interesting to me. I have been bored for literally every single part of this book. Not even any of the like little mysteries interwoven between have been attention grabbing to me at all. I have not. I just honestly did not realize that I am now 65% through with it, and there's only this much of the book left that I am just going to now sit down and finish via the physical copy. If I was only like 40% through the book right now, I would DNF it. I just honestly do not like it. And for me, like when I'm reading thrillers, I want them to be thrilling. The plot is thrilling. The mysteries that are unraveling are thrilling. We are missing that in here. We're really missing the mark with this one, guys. I'm gonna finish this and then see if we have any closing thoughts other than that, but honestly it'll probably just be more of a disappointing ending to the story. Guys, I have wonderful and spectacular news, and that is that I just finished this book. I can tell you right now, we are somewhere within the 2 stars, and that's me being generous. This morning when I was making breakfast and listening to the different point of views, I could guess how they were going to tie into the story. There were like little things that I didn't even like see as like a plot twist. I was just like, oh, that's weird. Just none of it was good to me. Finished the first book for today's video. I want to sit outside with a nice little sandwich. I'm thinking I'm gonna make a BLT, which is very like, I never make those, but I wanted to make a little sandwich, throw on a swimsuit, and read our next book, which is very fitting for a summery read. This is the stack of books that I'm referencing for today's video of books that I really want to read. So next up, I'm going to be reading Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan, which I read her other 2 books in April and loved them. They were like a 4.5 stars for me, so I'm very excited to be able to sit down and read this. So let's throw on a swimsuit, let's make a sandwich, and let's lay out and read Summer Romance. Ultimate summer vibes. First day of summer. First day of summer. First day of summer. Okay, guys, I am 30% through Summer Romance right now. Literally, I think you could flip through almost every single page and see something highlighted on it. already the last 2 books that I read from this author, this is probably distracting. One of my favorite things about her and her writing is I feel like she has the formula down of knowing exactly what to write, exactly where to end a sentence, exactly how much detail to put into something, and how to keep the story going without indulging too much into one specific thing to make it drag on. It's like she has this recipe down, and she has the list of ingredients and everything is measured out perfectly, and she knows exactly what to do to make it perfect, and it is just such an enjoyable read. I really love her writing. I have so many lines that I just love. I actually took a picture of a few, and that's how you really know. Underlining already, because I'm not somebody who like overly annotates my books, but also when I'm taking a picture of a quote, that's how you know. That's how you know that I'm loving it. I myself am a ball of unfocused longing. When I'm quiet, I can hear my heart yearning for impossible things. I want a perfectly pared down home, and I want to hang on to every scrap of the past. You've known me for 1 week, Scooter. You don't know what I'm made for. I've known you for a long time, he says. His gaze is heavy on me, full of a million things unsaid. It's like he knows a thing that I don't know, like he sees something I don't. That's one of many. I mean, do we want to sit down here and go through my underlines? First of all, even stuff that just isn't about like the relationship, because I do feel like her books as well have this subplot that you're focusing on. It's really reminiscent of Nora Goes Off Script for me in the way that it's like single mom, newly divorced, and kind of talking about that. And when I read this quote right here, it says, when I get home, Pete's car is already in the driveway. It's blocking the garage, and it occurs to me that he's not being thoughtless. It would just never dawn on him that I wouldn't be home right where he left me. There was a little line somewhere where it says she goes out every single morning to go kayaking, and Linda, this character, says, how was it? Great, but I may have gone too far. You deserve it, she says. And just little things like that, because we are talking about this line right before she says it. It's funny what you'll do for your kids, but not for yourself. Like, exploring it as a mom point of view, it's just hitting for me. Like, this book is literally amazing. I have been smiling out loud. Then this one, I always wanted someone to think of me that way, that I was the one. I say, come on, Allie, I'm pretty sure every guy at Beechwood High thought you were the one. Not even close. Maybe it was just me. Then he says, I just remember thinking you were the coolest girl ever. And she says, I love hearing this. I love that I was once that person and that someone remembers. Even just like the reminiscent of like who you used to be and who you are now, and feeling like you're losing sight of yourself and then trying to get back to that person. And then this quote, this clip has just turned into me reading you guys my favorite quote. It says, I'm struck by the fact that time's a powerful thing. It's made him so strong and sure, and it's made me unsteady. This must be what they mean by the law of conservation of matter. Maybe he found everything I lost. That, I don't care what you say, that hits. And then also, I keep on underlining because in this book, her mom used to always call them like champagne summers, like a really good summer, and today is literally the first day of summer. And I don't know why, it just feels like sometimes when you feel like you're doing something you're meant to be doing in this exact time frame, because this is literally the first day of summer, and then learning this like champagne summers thing, I'm like, I want to start doing that and telling everybody like it's gonna be a champagne summer. I don't know, just little stuff like that. And then even their banter like on their meet cute, oh my god, y'all, this book is so good. Like, it's so good. I keep thinking about it and just like giggling out loud. Wow, I'm really down bad. It's literally words on paper. This guy's not real. This relationship is not real. My god, I'm going to have an actual breakdown. I just finished Summer Romance. Oop, and I just spilled this water all over my bed. Oh man, I'm not joking either. Do you guys see that? Do you guys see that? Looks like I peed the bed. Guess what? Can't even be mad because I just found a 5-star read. Just found a 5-star read. Can't even be mad. I'll change my shorts after talking about this book. Going into this book, I already knew that I really loved the other 2 Annabelle Monaghan books. I have not stopped talking about them, I fear. Going into this, I was like, yeah, this is definitely going to be a 4 and above because I loved the other 2. I thought it was going to be like a, you know, like summery romance. They fell in love, all this stuff. This book was so much more than that. And to title this book, Annabelle Monaghan, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. To title this book Summer Romance and then disguise everything that's in this book, you've got to be kidding me. This book genuinely changed my life. Everything that is wrapped up in this book, y'all, I'm gonna tell you. We talk about grief, we talk about motherhood, and within motherhood itself, talking about kids and stuff that your kids are going through and feeling like you are losing yourself within your marriage and your motherhood and finding yourself and self-exploration in your 30s, and life is not over and you can find love, and what falling in love with somebody is scary, but it's worth it. And guess what? Guess what? This changed my life, because you guys know how I am about my dog. This quote, I have to read it to you guys because I took a picture of it. I took a picture of multiple quotes from this book because it was just that good. This quote changed my life. You get a dog and you know 2 things. You're going to fall in love with it and it's going to die one day. You knowingly walk headfirst into heartbreak. That's the basic madness of dog ownership. But it's like compared to falling in love with somebody. Ending line of this book, after I just finished it, I sat and reread 10 times. Do you guys see the way I'm gripping this book? You're joking! And the whole entire way that this book ends. It was so beautiful. It was such a good book. 6 out of 5 stars. It was so good. Every single part of this book was so good, and you know it's good when this is literally a romance book and I was in love with the romance, wanted to know what was going to happen with the romance. Like, obviously I'm in it because the guy in this book was absolutely amazing. We'll come back to him in a second. But how I was as invested in the romance as I was for every single other plot that was going on, and I was rooting so hard for our main character. Like, I wanted her to find her happy ending and find herself at the end of the book, and it was just something that I have not experienced for the longest time. Obviously, talking about this book brings me to tears, so I feel like that tells you everything you need to know. This book is so much more than just a summer romance, and maybe that's the irony of naming it summer romance, because you pick it up thinking that it's just gonna be this, you know, like, oh, we fall in love. It's so much more than that. To talk about the guy in this book, he's everything. He's everything. First of all, I love as well communication. Let's normalize communicating. Yeah, that's it. Everything about this book felt real too, like you're looking at it from this real lens, and I liked the way that their relationship progressed. It didn't feel like we were making any stupid decisions for the sake of just having spice in a book. Sometimes I feel like lately in romance books that have been published, it just feels like the relationship moves too fast just to have spice in the book. This one was just perfect. And also, if we want to talk about the cover, because when I love books, I analyze them, how she is the sole focus of the book and you can tell that he is in it. I feel like this is probably not intentional, but I like to think that it is. Even in this story, the romance, it's very romance heavy, but also it's mainly her as the focus, and he's just kind of this helping character that, yes, is her love interest, but is also the person that is there for her in her safe space and is helping her figure herself out. And also the romance in this book, like, there's a history between them, y'all. If you're gonna learn one thing from this video, it's to pick up summer romance. I'm sweating. I need to change my shorts because I just sat in water, and I'm also going to go downstairs, read my mom a bunch of quotes from this book. And that's how you know you love it. So, found another 5-star. Hello guys, little reading update. I actually just finished Powerful because this is just a little novella. It flew by, but I don't know what to rate it. I do know what to rate it actually. I'm just scared too because I did really love Powerless, and I wish I might just honestly watch a thing on TikTok talking about the book, because I don't know if I would honestly get to rereading it, but I wish I would have reread it before the next book comes out, because I read it back in November. I thought that maybe reading the novella would like flash back to a little bit of like what happened, but it does not. You really do just focus on Adina in this book, and I just thought that it was very cute and endearing, and it was a nice little love story that was very wholesome, and I loved Adina as a character in Powerless, so it was really nice to read a cute little fun romance in her point of view. I just didn't feel like super connected to it, because obviously it's a novella, and the trouble with me in novellas is that I usually rarely ever do, because I feel like everything is a little rushed. Even if it doesn't feel necessarily rushed, it just is, because it's so short and I don't really get connected to characters in this length of time. And I was already connected to Adina, but we're like following this new character. But I will say that I do absolutely recommend reading this one, because I feel like some of the people that we meet are going to be, and things that are talked about in this are going to be very important going on for the next 2 books. I would obviously recommend picking it up, and I had a really good time with it. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 stars, because it was fun, it was light and easy to read, especially after finishing Powerless. You already know what is happening in this storyline, because this follows the same exact timeline of Powerless, but obviously it's just like not as in detail. Like we're not focusing on like day to day to day to day as you do like in a full length book. Liked it. It was fun and nice and easy to read, and I thought the romance was very endearing in this one. I had a good time. I'm ready for Reckless to come out and to read that, so next book done. These are all of the books that are on my radar for the rest of the weekend. I think maybe when I get back, I might want to start Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I'm just really excited for this one, honestly. I can imagine myself either picking this one up later or picking up Unwritten, because I have it on my Kindle. So I guess we'll see when I pick up the next book, what book I'll read. Okay, back from the movies, and I am so ready to pick up Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I don't know if you guys know this, but I go into books blind, especially with thrillers, because I feel like that is the best chance that we have for me to rate thrillers highly, is to go in knowing nothing. That way I'm not already thinking about the predictability of the book and seeing any way that it could work out in a certain way. However, I will say, you guys know how I feel about thrillers being over 300 pages, and this one is well into the 300s. This one is 365, and I just did that managing not to look at anything on the page. I just unfocused my eyes from the words and looked straight to the number, which is something that I usually can't do. I'm gonna pick this up. I'm gonna go downstairs and read. Yay, new thriller, new thriller. Anyway, oh, everything's a mess right now. Wanted to give you guys a little bit of a reading update in my mood reading journey. Hey dear. Talking to my dog. So, I don't know the last talking clip that I filmed. Was I starting Middle of the Night the last time that I sat down and talked? If that was the last clip, then a lot has changed. I actually got like 30, 40-ish pages into Middle of the Night when I picked it up, and then I have said so many times with thrillers, like they do not need to exceed 350 pages, and honestly, I don't see them being over 300 pages, because I don't see thrillers as like you need to be attached to the character. Like you can give them like a little bit of backstory, but I feel like with thrillers, like you just don't need to know as much about a character and all of their like things that make them like a big character. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't need to be like when you're reading like a romance book and you want to know more about them because it adds up to the person they are, which adds up to their relationships and friendships that they have with other people. Like I feel like in thrillers it doesn't really matter. I just feel like we don't need to do as much build up, and I feel like I had been reading literally like the 30-40 pages of just straight up like back story on the character, and I just got super discouraged with it and put it down. And then I picked up on my Kindle Love Unwritten. I actually have been up since 3 o'clock this morning, and I literally just sat in my bed and started reading this after tossing and turning, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna read myself to sleep, and then I never went to bed, and I finished this. And I will say that this book was so adorable and cute. Well, first of all, it's just so adorable and cute to look at. I love Lauren Asher's books. Like, all of her books are really, really enjoyable for me, and I feel like they're just really good, like, escapism romances. And I was literally giggling so much so that it inspired me for a TikTok where I made, go watch it. It's like about me like giggling out loud at something, like giggling, like I was reading it and I was like, and then I literally went and looked around my room, because like the realization that you are sitting alone and giggling at words that are just written on paper, and sometimes you have to tell yourself that and come to that realization. It's very humbling. Yeah, I ended up giving this a 4 stars. It's definitely one of my 4-star reads where I would definitely recommend them. I will say I really liked the pacing at first, but I feel like once we got to like 50-60% through the book, and of course I was reading it on my Kindle so I could see how far I could see my progression through the book the whole entire time, we just got to the point where things were being dragged out a whole lot, and there were just like a lot of extra, just like random scenes, you know, that were like just cute for their relationship. But I guess since I wasn't like super connected and in love with them as a couple, I was just kind of like, okay, I feel like this is dragging on. Like, I felt like it was too long. Like, I feel like once we got to the 50-60% mark, like we could have kind of maybe started wrapping up the story there. There were multiple different subplots going on, like literally like 3 or 4 different plots going on at the time, maybe even 5, and then one of them you're kind of like talking about the whole entire time, and then all of a sudden it's just like gets brought back up at the end. I don't know, like I just felt like the pacing of the story was really weird. I just found myself kind of being like, okay, I get it. It just felt a little bit too long. I feel like that's really good though, because I really enjoy if a book is long. Obviously, look at me, I love the Boys of Talmud series, and those books are literal bricks. And I love them because I love the characters, so I love having that much content of them. So if you love this couple, like you're gonna love that there's that much content of them. But yeah, I really did enjoy it at 4 stars. Still really good. I would always recommend this series. I think it's very fun. I feel like it's been a while since I've read like an interconnected standalone series like this, where throughout the story you're seeing glimpses of like the previous characters from the other book, and then you also are like picking up on the little things that authors leave as like their little breadcrumbs of like who's gonna be whose next book is going to be about. And there's just something about reading like interconnected standalone books like this that just hit different, like they just do, and I really enjoy. So I wanted to update you guys because I'm editing right now, and I remembered that I finished Unwritten. This one is a single dad, and I feel like sometimes I don't pick them up because you know that the kid is going to be like a very big part of the story. But with this one, he was actually like super endearing and sweet, and I really enjoyed him as another character added into the story. And I feel like the author just has to know how to write kids, because I feel like one of the main things that authors do is they'll be like, yeah, the kid's like 5, and then the kid is like giving their full-grown parent advice on their relationship, like they're a therapist. Like they'll be sitting down and the 5-year-old is like, well, I think that you should just go up to her and get her this and this and say this and this to her. It's like, listen, I spend a lot of time with a 4-year-old personally. My niece is 4. She's not giving me life advice like a poet, you know? I know this. Like, I know she's not. We have lots of conversations, most of which just go round and round in circles. We're not talking about anything. So your 5-year-old's not spitting out advice to you about your relationship. That's like a really big ick for me. So I kind of avoid books with kids in them, because I feel like most authors just do that. Like the kids are way too mature and they write them like it's another character. But anyway, this one didn't do it. So I also want to point that out. If you're somebody who also does not really enjoy kids being in books, I thought this one was super endearing and sweet. That's it. I'll update you guys when I'm reading something. Hey, update. I have done, I don't even know. So I'm ready to pick up a book, and we have these 2 that are on my radar right now. And I did just read a romance, but since it's still light outside, I don't want to reach for the thriller. So I think I'm gonna try to start Not in Love by Allie Hazelwood. I loved Love on the Brain, The Love Hypothesis, and Love Theoretically. Oh, she puts love in all of her titles. Did anybody else notice that? Am I late to this realization? Probably. Bride traumatized me, actually. Oh god, now I'm thinking about it. Bride wasn't for me, and Check and Mate I DNF'd. Really interested to see where we're going with this one, but she just already announced her next book that's coming out in 2025, Deep End, and y'all, when I tell you I need that, yeah, I'm gonna need the ARC. Allie Hazelwood, if you're watching, I'm gonna need that ARC sent to my address. Call me girl right now. Let's read this one first. Little update. Oh, is this, maybe I can sit back like this. So I think yesterday, the last thing that you guys saw, hey, this is the real bookish aesthetic. I fall asleep with literally like 5 different books in my bed, and my Kindle. Fell asleep and woke up in the middle of the night with my Kindle on my face like this. I started Not in Love yesterday. I think I got like 30 or so pages in, and I don't know why, like even the way this one was written, I was just like, no. I literally got 30 pages in and I said, hey, actually I don't care at all. I'm not going to not read this book. I just don't know when I'm going to read it. Maybe tell me your guys' thoughts on this book, because just for right now, I cannot pick it up for the life of me. But the other day I got on TikTok, it was like a little slideshow of like quotes from a book, and it really felt very like Johnny Shannon coded to me. And so I looked up the book, and it was Unsteady, and it's a hockey romance, and it's about the guy Reese, and it's spelled like Reese from the Akatar series. The guy Reese is a hockey player, but he just got into a really bad like accident on the ice a few months ago, so he's going through a lot of stuff. It talks a lot about mental health and anxiety and panic attacks. And you have the main character Sadie, who has a lot going on. Like, she's a figure skater, but she has a lot going on in her family life, and they're really like there to help each other. And it was so Johnny Shannon coded. The whole entire book was like, even as we got deeper into the book, I was like, wow, this is really reminding me of Johnny and Shannon. Obviously they're not topping Johnny and Shannon for me, like those are in my heart. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna give it a 3.5, because there were points in the book where I was just like, but I still really enjoyed it. And then I thought, oh my gosh, wait, what if this is one of those things where like I discovered this and like they already have like a few books out in the series, because even the little crumbs that we got of every single other side character, I was like, when is their book? When is their book? How is this going to play out? I need to know what happened with them. One of them in particular is like, he kind of showed up halfway through the book, and you're kind of like, oh, we don't like him. But then you're like, wait, he kind of seems like especially towards the end of the book, you're like, I need his book. But I don't think the next book in this series comes out until February. So I'm very sad about that. But this one was honestly really good. Like, I flew through it. I got to like 20% through it last night and then fell asleep. And then today I picked it up and finished it. Really liked that one, guys. That's the 5th book for today's video of me mood reading. I will say I'm still very much in a reading mood, but I think the last book that I'm going to end this off is I'm going to try to read and finish Middle of the Night by Riley Sager, because I feel like I've been talking about this one so much and I want to read it in a reading vlog with you guys. Maybe I'll set the mood, get a scary movie on the TV, maybe Scream, and read this one, because I am really excited for it. I just didn't get into it, but now that I feel like I read Love Unwritten and tried to read this one, I feel like those were like distracting me a little bit, because I really wanted to read those over this one. But now I'm really wanting to read this, because this is just not working out for me. I need to like see what we're thinking about that one to motivate myself. That's what's going on. We're gonna finish off on that one. What if I told you guys that I'm not reading Middle of the Night by Riley Sager anymore? I'm trying to get into it, y'all. I cannot. It feels like we're going into like excessive over detail with every little thing, that it just feels like it's not bad writing, but like when I'm picking up a thriller, I don't know. I just can't get into it right now. Today, a novel love story came out. I ran to Target to grab some pens and saw this and was like, oh my gosh, because if you guys know, this is one of my most anticipated releases of the first half of this year. So obviously we have to pick this up and read it. Maybe we'll actually get through this one. Who knows? Hopefully. Okay guys, update. I don't know why. It's probably just the lighting, but I finished a novel love story. It's hard because I feel like when I'm thinking back on the reading experience with this one, I keep on thinking back to how the 7-Year Slip and even the Dead Romantics I read in one sitting. So I thought that I would get that same feeling with this one. I just kept on finding myself like getting so uninterested in what was happening, and at one point towards the end I got so mad, and then I feel like that particular thing that I got mad about was just used to add tension to the story right at the very end, and it kind of just felt so extremely unnecessary because we didn't even do anything with it. Like, it actually angered me, and because of that I dropped it from a 4 to a 3.5, which is what I'm settling on with this one because it was giving me like 4-star vibes. I did really enjoy it. I loved the atmosphere of this book. It felt like a warm hug. It felt so cozy. Like, I honestly feel like this would be a really good read for the fall time because of the very cozy small town atmosphere that literally feels like one of these books. Like, I'm gonna throw up a picture of those like small like mass market paperbacks and like just the type of town that you would imagine those, and it literally, I think at one point references Stars Hollow, and that's what it felt like in my brain, was a town like that. It just felt really magical. As for the romance in this book, it really, is this a 3? Like, as I'm about to start talking about it some more, I'm like, wait, am I just really wanting to give this a high rating because I love her books? Because even the romance in this book, I was not attached to at all. I just loved the like atmosphere of this book, and I thought that the premise was so much fun. Like, I thought that her being in her like favorite book series, like all of a sudden living in this town and talking to these characters and being in this bookstore and talking about the little inn, like I just loved it. Like, it was a good thing to pass time. But the romance in this book, I literally feel like was nothing, and then you get like 60% into the book and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, and by the way, he's really into her, and it's like, where? Definitely my least favorite from her, unfortunately, but that doesn't mean that this book is bad, because it's not. I still had a really good time and would recommend it. I would definitely recommend this for the fall. So I guess future Destiny will tell you guys what we're doing. This Destiny doesn't know yet. Hello guys, it's time for us to do our little wrap up. In today's video, I read 6 books, and I will say that we did pretty well, so let's talk about them really quick. First and foremost, we have the Midnight Part. Nope. Is there a book called The Midnight Party? Or no, I think Lucy Foley has a book called The Hunting Party. This is the Midnight Feast. This one I originally gave a 2-star, I think. Literally, the more that I think about it, it's just a 1. We did quickly turn it around with some romance, and this book is literally my favorite book of the year so far. When I tell you that as I have been driving in the car, I was literally driving in the car with my mom, I think like a few days ago. I literally looked at her and I was just saying quotes from this book. Like, I'm literally just driving and thinking about this book, thinking about what happened and the quotes and the banter and everything in this book. If I didn't rant about it enough in this video, you can go to my Goodreads as well, because I wrote a pretty lengthy review on there. Then I picked up Powerful, and I gave this one a 3 stars. I will tell you guys that this was a powerful novella because I think that it was very well written. I had a good time reading it. I just didn't feel like a deep connection. Then I'm pretty sure next up I finished Love Unwritten, which this one, it's a pretty big book, and I gave this one a 4 stars again. I even wrote it in my Goodreads review that I was giggling. I just felt it was a bit too long. And then I picked up Unsteady, which is the hockey romance that I just randomly picked up and read because it was giving me Johnny and Shannon vibes, and I've been chasing that feeling in books. And this one I feel like did give that Johnny Shannon vibe a little bit and had some like emotional depth to both the characters, which I really like. And I gave that one a 3.5 stars. I've even been thinking about it like after I read it. Like, I keep on thinking about the book, but I think it's going to stay at a 3.5. We finished off this video with me reading a novel love story yesterday. This one, I feel like if we were to talk about a disappointment in the video, it would be this one. Even though I said I gave it a 3 stars, it's not a bad book at all, and I would still literally recommend it, and you will see it in recommendations because 3 stars isn't a bad rating. I didn't love it as much as I built up in my brain, which is everybody can have this conversation in a different video about how sometimes building up hype around a book or you going in with hyped up expectations, is it really the book's fault that you built up of what it needs to meet before it's even done anything? I don't know, but you can't help it, because when you really like an author's books, you're going to hype them up in your head. Like, that's just what you do. You cannot go, it's like I can't go into an Emily Henry book expecting to not love it. I already went on a rant with this one, and it's probably pretty fresh in your guys' mind, so I'm not going to talk about it again. That is the 6 books that we mood read. I will say that I really enjoyed this kind of format of just like picking it up and reading whenever I want. I hope you guys enjoyed this little mood reading vlog. I feel like these are a lot more enjoyable to watch. I don't know if they are, because I feel like it could be a lot more enjoyable to watch somebody read something that they really, really enjoy, and I feel like I did have a good experience with most of the books. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, you guys know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff that you guys know how to do, and I will see you guys when I see you. Peace.